I'm in charge for the region-wide, which means the EMEA communications approach for the NBA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I have a small team, and we oversee the strategic approach for the NBA in those markets, which basically cover, I think, around 123 countries in those three areas. We set the strategy for how the NBA operates from a communication perspective in the market, which basically includes, on the one hand side, the basic day-to-day sports PR work, which is to promote the NBA, which is to promote the players, which is to have media relations, media liaisons, and to make sure that the NBA and the games and the league itself is being well covered in the area. But on the other side, we also see ourselves as a very important business or service provider, internal service provider for the specific business lines, which are media distribution, licensing and merchandise, and obviously sponsoring. And we see ourselves as a very integral part in that areas to promote and to help those business lines to kind of like fulfill their jobs at a much better level, with giving them the exposure and the coverage needed to come back with better results in those specific areas. I think the one thing, obviously, when you work in sports that is really key is the passion for sports. It's the passion for working in the sports industry, since it is different than other industries. So I think this is the key element, that you have to have somebody not necessarily totally focused on basketball, but at least keen for sports. Another part is that you got to be flexible in an industry like sports or the NBA. You got to be flexible to work in an organization like the NBA. You got to adapt. You got to change your ways of processes of working sometimes, and you got to be kind of like used to work with all different kind of people, whether it's media, whether it's internal stakeholders, whether it's sponsors, partners, and all those kind of like cultural things that come along with it. Additionally, when it comes to the NBA as an international global brand, you got to have the skills to communicate and work with different cultures all over the world, whether it's Chinese, French, English, German, American, Canadian, doesn't matter. You got to be able to adapt to all those different cultures and be able to work with everybody that is actually put in front of you. The best advice that I would give people who actually want to work in communications and in sport communications is be bold. Try to kind of like work your way up, pursue the goals that you actually want to have, and follow your dream, and knock on many doors as you can. Most of them might be closed, but there will be one door at the end that will open, and then use the opportunity that you will get. So basically it's persistence, and then once you get the opportunity, be strong and follow it. That is a very good question, because I think it's hard to say that there was the one advice that kind of like led me to the position where I am now. I think one of the most important advices that I was gotten and that I learned throughout my career was that kind of like failure is part of your success, which means I think it's even a Rocky theme, that you got to fall down and stand up again, or it's not about how often you get down, it's always about getting up again. And I think, and I give that advice to everybody that I work with or that is in my team, that it's okay to make mistakes, because you got to learn from them, and those mistakes make you progress in your career and in life. Probably the same qualities that an inspirational leader in every other field of work or in life has to bring along. And I think that is to inspire its team, to inspire the people that you work with, and to lead them, and to lead by example. And I think this is the biggest key for every leader, that you basically inspire the people that you work with by the way that you operate yourself.